Hello friends, today we are going to learn about how to make an AngularJS application with create read update and delete functionality. So let us start. Create a folder in your root directory of WAMP server. And make an index file for our application and name it as index.html. Create a simple HTML form. Create a label for student first name. And add a text box inline with the label with type equals to text. And add an ngModel attribute for binding AngularJS values with that text box. Apply the same formula for student last name. Now make an input type button for submitting data to the database. So let us check how our page look likes. So open browser. Specify the path of your local host and the directory where your project resides. So this is our index.html page which we created. So now we can include AngularJS file in our index.html page to use components of that. So open your browser. Search for AngularJS CDN. Here you can see the CDN of AngularJS. Copy that link and paste it in new tab. Press Ctrl+A and copy all the script and paste it to your editor. And save it as any name you want, but extension must be .js. You can also use direct CDN link, but it is more time consuming, so save it in your local directory. Here I am saving as angularmin.js. So now include angularmin.js file into head section of your index.html file. If you want to use AngularJS functionalities, then you must specify an application scope where you need to add that functionality. So create a division where we need to include two attribute. First ng-app, the name of the application, and the second one is ng-controller for specifying controller name, which we make later. Here I am setting my ng-app name as nwap and controller name as nController. Now make a script section after the body tag to write the controller for this application. Create a variable call app. And specify the name of your app, which is declared in the ng-app attribute. Now create a controller on that app variable and name it as same, which is in ng-controller attribute. And add a function containing $scope variable and $HTTP variable. $scope variable is using for getting the current scope values. And $HTTP variable is for making get and post request via HTTP to PHP files. Make a function call insert data to add all details to the database. Create new HTTP post request by use of $HTTP variable. First parameter would be the file name where you send a request. Second parameter is an associative array of values we are sending to that file in key value pair. Value is getting from current scope and the ng model attribute value. Similarly, add all the parameters we want to pass by separated. In AngularJS we can use callback functions after we getting success or error from request. So here then is a default function called endquote, then endquote, where you get response from the file and execute this function after post request is completed. Here I am setting up a variable called message. It is shown when data is successfully inserted. Here I am adding an action to the button from where this insert data method will be called. Now let us create a connection file for connecting to the database. Name it as connection.php. Here I am creating a simple variable called $bundle to make a connection. Here specify the hostname, username, password, and the database name in MYSQL function. And add a condition if connection is failed. Now we need to create database, so open browser. Type localhost/myadmin. Click on New button. Specify the database name. And hit Create. Enter the table name. Choose how many columns you want. Here you can specify your field's name like ID, primary key auto-incremented, and first name and last name with data type varchar for this tutorial. After all, click Save button. Now create a new file for inserting the data. Save it as insertdata.php. Include the database connection file to connect and access the tables of database. Create a $data variable for getting all the data from the HTTP request made from AngularJS controller. Use JSON_decode function for getting data from an associative array. Get single attributes from $data like first name and last name of the student which was sent by controller. Use function real_escape_string for converting it to string. Similarly, get all the key value pairs in the variables. Now for inserting data, make a query, and for that make a variable called $query. Write a simple insert query for inserting a data into the student table which we created in the database. Here first parameter would be null because it is an auto increment ID, so no need to provide this thing while inserting a record. Now use a function query of $bundle to insert a record. So now all the things are set, so let us test it on browser. Enter the first name and last name in the fields. And hit the submit button. So there is nothing in the database, so there will be some mistake. Let us check. So open console in browser by pressing F12 and we find error that insert data method calling is problem. Whoops. There were a big mistake found. We use onClick method in button instead of using ngClick attribute which is provided by AngularJS. So let us replace it by ngClick. And again make a test. Nice, as you can see data inserted successfully. But there is no message showing on success. So let us find out. Oh, so here I forgot to bind the message to the body part, so let and oppose s do it. Test it again. Good, and NBSP, now the message is also showing the status. Add more records. Thank you for watching this video. This is part 1 for AngularJS CRUD application tutorial. Please stay connected to my channel for getting updates of part 2 and part 3 and for all other videos. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel, end quote, Creative Engineers, end quote, for more updates.